I just bought 3 acres of land in the high mountain deserts of California for the sole purpose of bringing up the biodiversity of the animals and the plants that are native to the area. The only problem is, it is damaged lands. And damaged lands come from unprotected lands. Damaged lands come from the trees protecting the soil. They come from the lack of moisture being retained in the soil. They come from lack of biodiversity when it comes to the animals and the plants. Damage to the lands can come in many forms, but more often than not, it is man-made. So that means it can be man-reversed. In my mind, wherever you can hold water, you can harbor life. And so my first mission when it came to the land was getting it to hold and store water better. Maintaining this low level of erosion to the soil, because in places like this, where everything is just basically flattened out, everything is compacted, everything is rolling off of the land in terms of water, all the water is, this just leads to more and more damage to the land. It causes seeds to get washed off. It causes the topsoil of the earth to get washed off. You can see where this is a problem. And so our first mission involves us digging a lot. It involves us doing a little bit of damage to the land to begin with. Now, depending on how you see it, I see it as very healing. I see it as you have to lose something in order to gain something. I see it as you cannot really build unless you destroy, And when it comes to building on the land, they are all gonna be sustainable things for the land, to help the land, to help the biodiversity. These trenches or swales we are digging on the land actually slow down the force of the water. Because we are near a peak, near a mountaintop, we have a slope on the land. And whenever water builds up, which it does during these monsoon seasons, which is basically when too much water comes, then the land is really able to hold. More water comes at a shorter amount of time than over a longer period of time. And so it shocks the land almost. And if you don't do anything to the land and aren't able to manage that water flow, that instant water flow, then it is slowly going to just strip the land of its life. Okay? So when it comes to us digging, we are digging for a cause. We are digging for a purpose. We are digging for the greater good. When this water is being held up in these swales, in these trenches, in these holes that we're digging all throughout the land, through these earth smiles that we are digging all throughout the land, when it starts really capturing water, what is it doing besides just pulling up water and not allowing it to just flow? What it actually is doing is it's giving the earth a chance to soak it in. Similar to our skin. When we put something on our skin and we just wash it right off, how much of it are we actually absorbing? Similar to the earth and her surface, her skin, okay? We are giving it a chance to actually sink into the so-called skin or soil of the earth. When that happens, it goes into a bank almost. Water is currency, currency is water. Okay? So when we are depositing this water from these earthworks, from these structures in the ground that we are building, we are sucking the water in and putting it into the so-called water bank. Okay? Think of the ground underneath us as having something called an aquifer, and what that is, it's basically a section of the earth that really holds water. When you pour water on the floor and it just keeps going straight down, where is it going to end up eventually? Okay, it eventually goes to the aquifer, to the water bank. And from this water bank, the trees, the mother trees that take care of the earth, and the father trees, the trees act as the guardians of the land. Some have very long tap roots that's able to go down all the way to the aquifer, have a really long tap root to almost like act as a straw, suck up some water, distribute it through its roots to other plants and eventually other animals. This is why trees are so important, okay, in rebuilding the land. This is why our plan is to take these seeds, thousands of them, and create mini forests. I found this video on YouTube about Japanese mini forests, and I love the content because it's something that I do personally at my home. You see, I live in a townhome in the LA area, so yards and actually having bare soil to work with can be pretty rare. In my home, I have about 3 plots of soil, various sizes, and I am able to put a lot in a little bit. In for example, a 2x8 plot of bare soil, I could grow at least 10, 15, 20 different species of plants all in there and create it to be like a little mini forest where they're so close to each other. They're not choking each other out. They're at different levels, allowing them to thrive at their own pace, at their own will. When you have that, you allow the soil to be covered up, which protects the soil health. It's similar to putting something on your skin, like a sunscreen on your skin to block it from the sun, to block it from being burnt, so they say. But it's similar to that, where you're having this protective barrier over the soil in the form of plants, in the form of shade. And so when you form this shade, animals naturally want to come in. When animals come in, they die, they leave feces, they pollinate, they, trim back some plants, they maintain other plants. So they have a role and they continue, they're like your little workers. They continue this life cycle and allow it to thrive. And from there, it only spreads, right? So when I was watching this video on Japanese mini forests, I got inspired because I realized that I can do it on a larger scale. In the scale that I'm doing it in my home, it's very manageable. But on this type of scale, it intimidated me a little bit at first, until I realized what it was, until I realized who I am, and until I realized my connection with the land. But really, I just got inspired to start doing these mini forests. And so with these plants, with these trees, the mesquite trees, what they're gonna do is create tons of shade. That is one thing that mesquites do well, is they create a ton of shade, especially how I'm going to trim them. They're gonna create a ton of shade in different areas, especially the water catchment areas. And they are going to also tap into that aquifer I was just talking about. You see, mesquite trees have very long tap roots. They're able to tap into that. And so what that does, it's gonna allow the smaller shrubs, smaller bushes, smaller wildflowers and grasses maybe, a chance to thrive because it can't reach that aquifer. The tree is being a friend and bringing it up. Okay, I'm also getting the mesquite trees because they are one of the fastest growing trees that you can have. Another reason is they are nitrogen fixers, and nitrogen fixers do exactly that into the soil. They bring nitrogen into the soil, and nitrogen is needed for green growth, for plant growth. Since I've been sharing this journey of restoring the land and really doing this passion project that I've always wanted to do, I found so much support from people that I didn't even know 2-3 months ago, really when I started posting. Naturally, with all the love that I get, you will always get some hate, and I don't respond to it, but there is one concern that I would love to talk about, just so I can use it as an educational tool for you guys. Now, some people might ask, why am I bringing in different plants that may not be native to the exact area of the mountain, but it is native to the surrounding regions that have the same climate. So the plant may have never went that far up in elevation, but it thrives in the same environment, maybe 50, 100 miles away. So I say I am bringing the plants to create a new relationship with each other that is mutually beneficial between the plant, the earth itself, the other surrounding plants, because none of these are invasive, and the animals that get shade, they get, housing, they get moisture, they get food, all of that. And so I don't see it as a problem because they are native to the, surrounding regions of it. I'm just almost expanding the range. I'm not creating a whole new, a whole new range for it. I'm just expanding the range for the plants that I do bring. But they do benefit everybody. Okay, they benefit the other plants, they benefit the other animals, they benefit the land itself, and that is what the project is about. It is about bringing life to the land again in a way that is sustainable to the land, that is helpful to the land, that's helpful to the native, population, period. Regardless, human, animal, plant, fungi. I want it to be mutually beneficial. And this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and that I was a little hesitant in even uploading or even starting the vlog because I usually just preach about health and wellness. I don't usually, steer too off of that when it comes to my social media channels, but because I am new on YouTube, I'm not new on TikTok. We have over 700,000. I'm not new to Instagram. We have 130 something thousand. And so YouTube, I wanted to do something a little bit different for you guys. I wanted to give you guys maybe a deeper insight into what I am really about beyond just the health and wellness, the herbs, the healing, the education on that side. And so I hope you guys have been enjoying the vlog. I have really enjoyed making it, and I am doing better at getting more consistent with them, especially since I've been seeing so much feedback. You guys are really, really awesome. This is exciting. I'm happy to see that I'm able to even inspire people to do this where they are. That's always so beautiful to me, the inspiration piece, and inspiring other people to build a connection with the land, repair the land. That is very, very important to me. It's very important to my overall goal here on this earth. And so with that being said, I want to say thank you again for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, I know you will enjoy the other episodes. So why don't you just go ahead and go to the playlist that we have on our, YouTube page and just binge watch the whole thing like it's Netflix or something. All right. I'll see you on the next video.